At the beginning of the film, we observe Finch, who is out for a jog. The boy suddenly notices Violet nearby. The schoolgirl is standing on a bridge and looking down, leaning slightly. The boy decides to stand next to Violet and talk to her. Finch manages to convince the schoolgirl to come down from the bridge and not make a fatal mistake. Another school day arrives. At school, Violet notices a boy, but stares at him silently. Finch also doesn't start a conversation and passes by. The boy goes to the principal's office, where he is reprimanded. Finch has already missed 2 weeks of school, and after another truancy, he promises to be kicked out of school. At lunch, Violet chats with her friend. Amanda asks where the friend has applied for admission. Also, a handsome guy talks to Violet. Romer suggests the schoolgirl go to a party together to relax. Meanwhile, Finch observes Violet and remembers that the girl not so long ago lost her sister. The guy's friends find this interest in the schoolgirl strange. Finch returns home, where he talks to his sister. Kate reminds that their mom has gone to Chicago for work. Meanwhile, Violet is having dinner with her family. Her father tries to comfort his daughter and says that this is a hard day for them too. However, when Violet's mother puts a cake on the table, the girl leaves the table without saying a word. Finch, on the other hand, searches the web for information about the schoolgirl. It turns out that Violet's sister Eleanor died on the same bridge during the accident. Finch finally realizes why the schoolgirl came there early in the morning. The next day at school, Violet enters the classroom and drops her things. To distract everyone from the incident, Finch drops his chair and stares at it with feigned surprise. When Violet sits down in her seat, the guy smiles at her friendly. The schoolgirl also smiles back. However, when Finch decides to talk to her, the girl quickly walks away. Back home, the guy looks at the wall hung with stickers and adds another one to them with the caption, "Because she smiled at me." Violet, meanwhile, is talking to her mom. She tells him that they have a geography assignment to do in pairs. Mom agrees to help Violet if her daughter will stop to go fetal and go to a party with her friends. The schoolgirl goes to Amanda's house, but leaves almost immediately after having an argument with Romer. The guy is angry that months have passed since the tragedy, and Violet has never been the same. Leaving the party, the schoolgirl receives a video message from Finch. Violet calls the guy back and asks him what he wants from her. Finch suggests that the schoolgirl meet up and talk about what happened on that bridge. During the walk, the guy tells her that he found Violet and her sister's website. The schoolgirl admits that she abandoned the site and also stopped writing after the tragedy. Finch offers the girl to do a geography project together because it is necessary to visit several places in Indiana and write about them. The guy offers Violet to think about his proposal and also gives her a sticker with a quote by Virginia Woolf about 1,000 possibilities hidden inside a person. The schoolgirl still tries to refuse the project activity, but the geography teacher doesn't agree. Violet becomes Finch's partner, but she warns that she doesn't drive a car. The guy is not the least bit upset and suggests going on a trip on bicycles. On the way, Finch tells that he would like to visit a place where no one has ever been before. Finally, the couple makes it to the highest place in Indiana. It's a little ironic that it's in the woods, and Finch jokes about it. Violet can't contain her smile and finally laughs ringingly. At this point, Finch decides to leave a small souvenir and then a staring contest with the schoolgirl. At home, Kate notices that her brother has become more kind and cheerful. Finch decides to write to a schoolgirl and sends her a quote from Virginia Woolf. Violet also opens the work and sends the quote back. Finch decides to get the schoolgirl out of the house and goes for a walk. Violet opens up to the guy and tells him a little about her sister and their connection. Before classes, the schoolgirl talks to Amanda. The friend tells her that Finch is dangerous because last year he threw a chair at Romer. When the guy approaches Violet and talks about the next trip, the girl responds rather stiffly. Finch asks the schoolgirl to switch to her normal rather than public behavior. Romer joins the conversation and thinks it's time to leave Violet alone. The boy calls Finch a weirdo, which causes him to leave. Finch complains to the principal that sometimes such words hurt him, even though he knows he shouldn't react to them. The next morning, Violet sees the boy on her lawn. Finch remembers that the schoolgirl stopped driving cars after the tragedy that happened to her sister. However, Finch says he has found an amazing place and the only way to get there is by car. Despite her initial protest, Violet still agrees to the trip. Finch promises not to speed or break the rules. On the way, Violet tells him that she and her sister were not driving very fast either. However, the car skidded, and Eleanor was unable to stop. Violet remembers only the sound of breaking glass and the impact. After that, the girl woke up in the hospital, where she was told that her sister didn't survive. As she tells this, Violet cries and Finch takes her hand, comforting and supporting her. Finally, the pair reach that most unusual place. Finch and his friend ride a scaled-down replica of a roller coaster and have a great time. Afterwards, the ride continues, and Violet looks at the guy with interest and a slight smile. Finch looks at the girl very cheerfully and hums a song playing on the radio. The guy asks Violet to look at the map, where a special place they will be traveling to someday is circled in red. Soon after, Finch stops the car, gets out, and stares at Violet intently. The girl walks towards the guy, after which they kiss. After becoming a couple, the school children continue to visit interesting places in Indiana, having fun and enjoying their time with each other. Violet gets to know the guy's friends, and feels that she has finally become happy after the tragedy. However, Finch's behavior becomes a little strange. The guy disappears and doesn't respond to messages, which greatly upsets Violet. Finch's friends say that there is nothing to worry about because sometimes he has periods when he doesn't communicate with anyone. Soon, the guy turns up and gives Violet lots of flowers as an apology. Together with his girlfriend, Finch goes to a lake called Blue Hole. There, the teenagers dive and then decide to warm themselves on the rocks. When Violet asks about a strange scar, Finch, instead of answering, decides to dive underwater. He doesn't emerge for a long time, causing the schoolgirl to get nervous. When the guy does surface, Violet gets into an argument. It seems to the girl that Finch is hiding something, and she asks to tell about it. The guy confesses that his father sometimes did terrible things to him. That's what left this scar on his stomach. After the lake, the couple find a train stop and sit in one of the carriages. The teenagers stay there alone and then fall asleep in each other's arms. In the morning, Violet realizes that they urgently need to return home. The parents of the girl were very worried, because of which there is a quarrel. Finch is very worried that now he will no longer see his beloved girl. The guy tears off the stickers from the wall and then untidily paints them in blue. At school, the couple finally see each other. Romer yells insults after them, and Finch loses his temper. Right in the corridor, the guys have a fight. After this situation, Finch goes home and then disappears again. Violet realizes that she can no longer live like this, constantly worrying about the guy. Therefore, the schoolgirl decides to go to Finch's house, where she is met by his sister. Meanwhile, the guy himself attends psychological support meetings. There, Finch also sees Amanda. It turns out that the cheerful friend Violet suffers from bulimia and wants to take her own life. Finch tells that sometimes in fits of rage, he does strange things. After the meeting, the guy goes to his sister to the bar. Kate says that Violet is very worried, so she stayed at their house. Finch starts to talk about their father and asks if he ever acted like a kind man. Kate is angry at this dialogue, and she doesn't understand why bring up the past. Finch almost confesses his feelings to his sister, but then lies that everything is fine. Back home, the guy discovers Violet in his room. The schoolgirl is shocked by the mess, and she asks why Finch needs so many stickers. The boy tells her that sometimes his mind gets empty and gloomy. So Finch writes down his thoughts and feelings to save them in times like these. The guy is angry because Violet is not a weirdo, and therefore she can never understand him, much less help him. Finch chases the girl away, and she leaves. The next day, a crying Violet calls the guy. The schoolgirl leaves a message apologizing for pushing Finch and asking him to come back. At home, Violet talks to her father and says she's very worried about her boyfriend. The man suggests going to some place that was dear to Finch. Violet goes to the lake and finds the guy's car there, as well as his belongings lying on the shore. Crying, the girl realizes that Finch has committed suicide, After the funeral, Violet takes the loss hard. In time, the girl gathers strength and revisits the things left behind by Finch. Violet remembers the place that the guy wanted to show her and decides to go there to honor his memory. The girl drives up to the church and wonders why Finch chose that place. The girl goes inside and looks around in bewilderment. Violet turns around and sees a sign that says, "This church was built in memory of those who lost their lives in car accidents." The girl smiles, realizing that Finch found this place on purpose so that she could deal with her grief for her dead sister. In the notebook, Violet sees the note, "I was here," and Finch's signature. Shortly afterwards, in front of the class, the girl reads her essay. In it, Violet thanks Finch for bringing joy back to her life and for teaching her to appreciate every moment, every place that at first glance seemed quite ordinary. This is the end of the film. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like, write in the comments what you think about this film, and see you in new videos.